Hey everyone, Richard from Digital Foundry here, and this is Rise of the Tomb Raider, running on PlayStation 4 Pro in its 4K mode. And we're revisiting this game today because there's a new patch out, patch 1.06. A lot of people have asked us to analyse it, and well, joining me to do just that is Tom Morgan.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay, so potted history of Rise of the Tomb Raider patches. It launched 1.0 and 1.01, I believe, probably a day one patch. PlayStation 4 absolutely fine, except there were input lag issues. And then 1.04 added support for PlayStation 4 Pro, and all was good. But then they tried to kind of address the input lag issues still further with 1.05 and added some pretty horrible frame pacing issues.
It's quite interesting because it's almost as if Nixxes is trying to pull it on par with the 360 version, which had no frame pacing issues, and now suddenly we're kind of back to where we were, and it's looking a lot smoother, definitely, in this video. What are we seeing here, Rich?
Credit to Nixxes first of all, because they do respond to practically every complaint we have about any of their titles. Deus Ex, Mankind Divided on Pro, fixed. Rise of the Tomb Raider, input lag fixed. Frame pacing now fixed. Now this is the enriched mode, the 1080p Pro mode that adds additional visual features. 1.05, if you look at the frame time graph there, the kind of darker blue line, 16 millisecond to 50 millisecond spikes, it's pretty ugly. 1.06, perfect frame pacing, just like 1.04 actually. So everything is resolved there, and it's all looking pretty good. And the funny thing is, of course, that if you look at this particular segment here on the frame time graph, we are actually seeing frame time spikes down to 80 milliseconds or even higher.
What does that mean in terms of the feel of the game?
It means that the stutter is going to be pretty insane during the game. I guess it's sort of bottlenecking perhaps on CPU, on streaming, but by adopting a 33 millisecond fixed frame pacing time period, we actually get completely consistent performance there, no drop whatsoever. Here we're moving on to the 4K mode, and there's not a huge amount of difference here. There have been some reports that frame rate is improved in the game. This is the Geothermal Valley, which is one of the biggest stress points in the game, and well, you can see here that it seems to be pretty much on par, not really that much difference at all. Now the difference is that the 16 millisecond spikes are reduced. In fact, the 16 millisecond spikes completely gone on the 4K mode. So again, slightly smoother performance, but it's really the 1080p mode, the enriched mode, that really benefits.
So that's good news there. So now what are we looking at here?
Yeah, this is the unlocked performance mode, and this basically offers the standard base PlayStation 4 gameplay, and it is running with the frame rate cap completely removed. So obviously no frame pacing issues there in 1.05, no frame pacing issues in 1.06. It just chucks out frames as soon as they're ready. Again, there was some conjecture that frame rates were higher, but I think we've pretty much ruled that out here. So that's pretty much the end of the testing here, and we're just going to move into just some really nice 4K captures from the PlayStation 4 Pro. Now we did the Titan X comparison as our Patreon sampler at launch. We covered the game in the PlayStation 4 Pro review, but we haven't actually shown a huge amount of 4K video, so I just wanted to kind of almost pay tribute to the work that Nixxes and the original developer Crystal Dynamics have done here, because, well, I think this could well be one of the finest PlayStation 4 Pro titles money could buy.
I agree, and it's done well across all the platforms it's touched, from the Xbox One original, but this is like the premier experience on the console front
right now.
And right now, I'm unsure of the settings that it uses compared to PC, but I'm under the impression in the enriched mode it is close to the top settings. But we're seeing it here in the 4K mode, which means similar to base PS4.
It is pretty much identical to base PlayStation 4, but it's still very, very special, and it is using full 2160p checkerboard rendering even on these cutscenes here. And when you look at the fidelity of the lighting, if you look at the quality of the motion capture, the quality of the characters, Lara's hair, of course, it's all looking pretty awesome. Now we have to remember that on Xbox One the cutscenes played out at 1440 by 1080. That was bumped up to full 1080p on base PlayStation 4, and the fact that they've been able to continue that to full 4K on the Pro with the checkerboarding, of course, it is quite remarkable.
The big standout for this game really is the lighting, the way everything kind of has a natural look. the shadows play across the environment from the characters. Everything has a dynamic feel.
I honestly reckon that if you have a PlayStation 4 Pro, you're really doing yourself a disservice if you don't own this game. It really is quite remarkable. One thing which we should address, actually, returning to patch 1.06. Now, there was a lot of controversy about the input lag, and unfortunately John is on holiday at the moment, so I only have experience of playing this title for an extended period of time on 104, and this feels pretty much identical to 104 to me. There have been some comments that it may well have a lot of input lag. That was kind of not what I felt in 104. This feels the same though.
So does it feel acceptable to you as someone coming in fresh?
It's certainly a little bit heavier than you might expect, but I don't think it's anything like as bad as the original Xbox One version by Crystal Dynamics, which to this day still hasn't been patched. It's still just as kind of laggy as it was back then. So again, credit to Nixxes, the conversion house. They fixed it on PC, they fixed it on Xbox 360 remarkably, and they've even fixed it now on PlayStation 4. Is it as crisp as 1.05? Well, that's what a lot of people are asking. And well, input lag measurement is something that we're going to be specializing in and putting a bit more time and effort into in 2017. But the problem we have in the here and now is twofold. First of all, we don't have data from 1.04 and 1.05, so we can't really do any comparisons there.
It strikes me that the biggest hit this game takes as a result of the input lag would be in the shooting mechanics, like aiming the crossbow and that sort of thing. For the climbing segments, obviously it's all a bit buffered.
Yeah.
You make your input and then the animation kind of fulfills that and you jump to the next ledge. But certainly where there's aiming involved, that feels like the area you're going to be...
It's the area where you are going to notice it. Right stick action, particularly the aiming of the longbow, that sort of thing. But, you know, again, I generally think that it is improved over the launch version, which did have the issue, and I think Nixxes aren't going to go back to that older version of the code. But as I said, one thing we need to do in 2017 is actually come up with a kind of foolproof way for easily measuring input lag, and that's something that we are working on behind the scenes here, so that's going to be pretty interesting stuff, I think.
So finally seeing this game in checkerboard 4K on the PS4 Pro, it's quite something. I mean, it holds up really well. I don't know about you, but have you noticed the checkerboard artifacts at all? Or is it...
Yeah, I mean, essentially it seems to be on areas where there's a lot of high frequency detail, a lot of foliage. If you do a freeze frame and zoom in, you can see the checkerboard artifacts quite easily.
Right.
But you can see the checkerboard artifacts. But the point is that, well, you know, the whole point of checkerboarding was that it was designed to kind of give the illusion of native 4K rather than adhering to a hard and fast pixel count. So yeah, there are artifacts, but the whole way that 4K display technology works, it's not really that much of an issue. And overall, the game kind of looks a little soft compared to a native 4K presentation. But the point is that, you know, this is one of the most advanced third-party titles that we've seen this entire generation, and the fact that it's running at a 4K resolution on a console with like 150, 160 watt power budget's absolutely remarkable.
And I don't think we give it enough credit. I mean, we've said it before, but the fact it comes with 3 modes on PS4 Pro to give players options, you know, 4K with this game checkerboarded is exactly what I want. But then there are the sub options, the enhanced visuals on 1080p, which, you know, it is a very viable way to play the game. I think there's a tangible difference. It's fair to say.
We're in a kind of transitionary period in terms of display technology where, you know, there's a lot of people out there with 1080p screens, and obviously they want some value from the Pro. Now, I kind of think that giving developers carte blanche to do whatever they want with their titles on PlayStation 4 Pro, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. So you get stuff like Batman where, you know, it just doesn't really make that much of a difference on the Pro, especially with that latest patch installed, where no effort has really gone into it. And on the other hand, you get titles like this where Crystal Dynamics and Nixxes have sat down and thought, right, what can we do with this technology? How can we make it a really special event? And basically, the advantage that they've got is that the title has a huge amount of scalability built in. It runs on Xbox 360, for God's sake, and then on the other hand, you've got Titan X Pascal running this at 4K 60, and it looks beautiful. So, you know, there's scalability in the engine and the assets, and I think we'll see more of that scalability. I'm pretty much certain that this will be a Project Scorpio title at launch next year.
Another real thing that I love about this game, especially if you're looking at the benefits on Pro, is you can switch them on the fly. All the options can be swapped during game, unlike, say, Shadow of Mordor, which you need to go back to the title screen.
Yeah, or NAC.
Or NAC, yeah. And it seems like that's a great way for you can judge it for yourself and make your own.
Yeah, you can easily judge all of the different modes available and choose the one that's good for you. So, generally speaking, I think that this title is well worth checking out if you haven't already. And I think we're going to leave it there for now. Yeah, of course, if you did like this video, please like and subscribe. And remember that you can support Digital Foundry via Patreon in order to see all of our 4K videos the way they were meant to be seen, and the difference can be quite revelatory. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and thank you, Tom.
No problem.
See you next time.